Adigwe recalled that she discussed the issue with her mother as soon as they were done with supper that day. The lies bothered her so much that, unlike her, she could not keep the matter at the level of the three of them. There were no signs that William was sure of what he said about Enema. She gave it to him also because it was he who suggested that and maintained that the three of them would meet and on the issue. He wouldn't have done so if he was wavering. Adigwe's mother, Obidi, was theirs on the matter. She said little, and there was no evidence of indignation written all over her face. I don't know why the issue of this young man should still be a topic for discussion. Why should you ever talk about him? You know, Mommy, that I don't talk about him any longer. But who assumed the matter? He did. It's like his conscience is pricking him. From all he said, however, I'm concluding that Enema went to him on her own accord. You shouldn't be bothered about whether he invited her or she went there on her own. The issue is that there has been some contamination and nobody drinks contaminated water. A wise person does not drink such water. Allow William to marry Enema if he wants to do so. Two of them behave like tortoise. Mommy, you promised to tell us the story the other day. I did, but it was a promise I made to Okechukwu. We told you a lot of stories and for many years. However, if you promise you will not quarrel over this man again, I will tell you the story here and now. Mommy, the issue is that a lie was told. You offend me by using the word quarreling and you know it's not true. For my sake, you will forget about the lie. Would you do that because of me? I will, Adigwe responded. The tortoise is the most cunning animal in the animal kingdom, Obidi started. He was a very notorious animal who took delight in cheating fellow animals. There was a feast in heaven, and all the animals in the kingdom were invited to the occasion. Tortoise was a man of wit, an orator, and very crafty. So it did not take him time to convince the birds that the feast was meant for him alone, since the other animals had no wings with which to fly. And since he was the coordinator of the program, it was easy for him to convince the birds to donate wings to him, to enable him fly along with them. In a twinkle of an eye, all the birds around donated some feathers to Tortoise. Tortoise, dressed up along with the birds and looked very gorgeous in the surplus wings, he nominated himself officially as the leader of the delegation, and looking at him, everybody admitted he was a leader. The flight took off with Tortoise flying well enough. The representatives of the animal kingdom arrived in heaven before noon, a time when the feast was about to take off. By this time, Okechukwu and the other children of the family had joined Adigwe and Obidi in the evening tales. Okechukwu posted a question without permission. Mommy, is it possible for tortoises to use the wings of other birds to fly? Yes, it is. That's what the story says. I find it difficult to understand how this can happen, Okechukwu contended further. My son, it happens that way in the story. The folk tale of our people do not take the kind of questions you are asking. Mommy, please continue. Don't interrupt Mommy again, okay? Understand? Okechukwu said yes, and Obidi continued. Tortoise told all the birds that everybody in attendance was to have a name with which the person was to be recognized. That was some moments before the commencement of the feast. According to Tortoise, it was one of the organizers of the feast that gave the instruction. Tortoise quickly chose a name. He was to be called All of You, and the other birds took their own names. The occasion took off with the traditional breaking of the kola nut. The chairman of the occasion said the prayers and broke the kola. Quantities of kola had been arranged in some measures to to be sent to the different groups and attended. The waiter approached the section where the birds were sitting with a bowl full of kola nuts. Standing before the birds, he announced, "This kola nut is for all of you." Tortoise rose up immediately and hollered to all the birds, "I hope you heard and understand what he said." A lot of them did not respond. Those who did mumbled their response. The message was clear, however, that the cola was meant for Tortoise. Tortoise chewed on, and before long he cleared the entire quantity. Very soon it was time for the appetizer, and when it was served, it was treated the same way the cola was treated. Shortly after the appetizer, the main dish came on. The menu was comprehensive: moi moi, salad, meat, fried fish, stockfish, fresh fish, rice, etc. And since they were given to all of you, Tortoise once more had a field day. He ate the food of his lifetime and concentrated on the choicest items, such as fish and meat. He continued eating himself to stupor. The birds were hungry and salivating. Some of them had had cramps in their stomach, cramps that resulted from hunger and the good aroma of the dishes. There was enough food everywhere, yet there was nothing for the birds. Before this stage, Tortoise had warned that heaven was not a place where any creature could be foolhardy enough to misbehave. Anybody who did so stood a risk of being mishandled. The birds whispered among themselves and started to leave. While leaving, each of them collected the wings had donated to Tortoise. The organizers of the occasion did not understand the melodrama. By the time all the birds had left, Tortoise had no wings with which to fly back on Earth. "That's good for him. It serves him well," interjected Okechukwu without knowing when he did. He did. How did he manage to come back to Earth? From heaven, Tortoise called a lot of other animals in the kingdom and made a lot of promises about the goodies with which he would come back from heaven. He pleaded with them to prepare for him landing on earth by bringing out very soft objects on which he would land. The animals had heard the stories of how Tortoise cheated the birds in heaven and were exceedingly vexed by the role Tortoise played. They gathered the hardest of objects for his landing, and when they were set, they told Tortoise to take off, promising him that all was well. Tortoise crash landed and got broken into pieces. All the animals expected him to die in his sick bed, where he remained for a long time. Tortoise recovered eventually, but his back remained with everlasting cracks and his movements ever sluggish. She ended. Adigwe's mother narrated to Adigwe that she did not receive William well when he met her on an appointment on the same matter. Adigwe had decided to stay away from their house because she did not know how to handle the matter. She had on many occasions decided with her mother that Williams should forget about her. But because she was naturally a respectful type, she did not know how to treat Williams with disdain. She had earlier concluded that William did not deserve disdain. Adigwe ran into William 6 months after his last visit to their family. It was at Alaba Central Market where Adigwe shuttled to pick some second-hand wares, popularly known as OK. The spot was known as the OK Boutique. William was passing by and was not in a position to see Adigwe. Involuntarily, Adigwe yelled out, "Hi, Williams, how are you?" "Oh, Ada, I'm cool. How is your place of work?" "It's cool too. The sun is scorching here. Let's stay under the tree over there and have some shade." Adigwe and William moved out of the sun, a distance of about 25 meters. They settled under a big tree at the heart of the market. There were stores beside the tree, some of them erected with canopies. Drinks were sold in one of them. "What do you take, Adigwe?" Soft drink. Any soft drink will do, she responded. He placed an order of 2 bottles of Coca-Cola drink. The waiter responded with dispatch. William meant to serve her, but she was smarter than him and had picked the opener before William's effort. He pleaded that he should take over from her, but she did not acquiesce. Why are you this hard, Adibi? I'm not hard, you know. I'm natural, and that is the word. I'm only playing myself, she responded. Your hard position reminds me of the disappointment I suffered in the hands of you and your mother on the last 2 occasions I visited your family. Your mother was indifferent to me and treated me like a total stranger. I don't support that, Adigo responded. But you should know that elderly people have their lives to live. It means that your family has made a negative conclusion about me. The family hasn't said you are not welcomed at any time or that anybody should be impudent to you. But going by the trend of events, it's clear that they voted any serious relationship between me and you. Whatever the situation is, life will still roll on as usual. That's true. But how will you cope with your university education? Your friend has applied and is likely going to be successful. I had thought that by this time, all of you in that house should have given me the nod to go on with you. This admission should have been my first assignment for you. God will take care of me and my university education. That's the position of my family. You know that we are humble family and that my parents have the relationship with those of Enema. And now that you've gone all the way to be processing Enema's admission, there is no need of botching that relationship. You know that I help her because of you. I always considered it help to you whenever I help her. I don't know how else to explain it. There is no need of explaining it since no explanation will alter the situation. Are you sure? Asked Williams with his head bowed. I'm quite sure, but we shall remain familiar and be friends. Anytime, anywhere we see, we shall smile and say hi. And if we don't meet again, Adibu said, looking at him for a response. The parting is well made, William responded. So you were able to read Julius Caesar on your own, Ada. You are great. You remind me of that scene where the tide turned against the foes led by the conspirators, the general in the person of Marcus Brutus, and Zeus Cassius. That text is my favorite in the category of tragedies, Adigo confessed. Literature aside, William yawned. Is there anything left for me in that deal? I'm not sure there is, so let's call it a day. Thank you very much. Well, since the decision is a family one, I have to throw in the towel. And he did. Wow. Please don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. Thanks. See you next time.